Going live, 3, 2, 1, and we're live. Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to your Vibrant Health Secrets. It is such a pleasure to be here with you today. We have a couple of very special guests for you, and this is something that I think is so critically important because underlying every disease condition, there's inflammation. Underlying inflammation, there's our emotional well-being. And our emotions play such a huge role. We don't even get anywhere close to grasping this. So I'd like you to welcome our next guests. I'm going to ask them why they should be here with us, why they're here, what gives them the right to be here with us, and why we should listen to them. And this is going to give them the opportunity to tell you what they want to be told. So join me in warmly welcoming Dr. Kevin and Vonda. Welcome, guys.
Well, thank you very much for having us today.
Yes, this is a new experience for us, and we're very excited to be here.
Well, it is such a pleasure. And again, what gives you the right to be here, and why should people listen to you?
Oh, basically, what gives us the right to be here, and I can only really speak for myself personally, is the life experiences that I've gone through, because it's my life experiences which basically drove me to want to first help myself to clear my own emotional baggage, but also led me to want to help other people. Because when I was a child, I went through. I had a mother who was alcoholic, and she was very, very violent, and she wasn't a very positive role model. I mean, the problem was she was very sick. But when I was a little kid, she used to tell me that basically she wished she shouldn't have had me. She basically made me feel like I had no reason to be here, no sense of self-worth, and I grew up with that feeling like I didn't matter, like I was invisible. And my father was he was emotionally absent. He wasn't someone you could talk to. He wasn't someone who really wanted you to talk to him. He didn't give you I call it the warm and fuzzies. So I didn't grow up with any good role models. So when I became a chiropractor, I was very good at what I did. I was very good at helping people to heal physically, but I hadn't healed emotionally, and I saw that so many of my patients, they had emotional problems, and I thought, I gotta do something for me because I don't want to live like this. And in the course of helping myself, I basically learned to help my clients. Then when Vonda and I met, we worked together to further create this technique we do called the Awakenings Technique. In the last 3 years, we basically unleashed this to the world. We do this over Skype. We do it in Europe over Skype. We're in the States, and it just keeps getting better and better. I am busier with the emotional work I do than with the chiropractic work I do. Now, how Vonda came to this is a little bit different than me. Mine was mainly from what I went through as a child, the lack of self-worth. That's what drove me, because I didn't want to feel like that. I know that so many other people were feeling the same way that I am, and I wanted to do something.
Yeah, and mine's a different spin. We all have our own childhood issues to overcome, but I'm going to take mine up from an actual an accident that I had. I was a horse trainer, and back in 2001, I was sitting on top of an unbroke young horse, and just getting him used to the body weight for the very first time when he all of a sudden reared up, and I had come off of him, and then he had lost his balance and fell on me, breaking my pelvis in 4 places and fracturing my lower back. And I went through a lot of physical rehab, trying to get back to even walking again. It took me over 2 years just to physically walk without excruciating pain. And through that course of looking for ways to get rid of my pain, because it always haunted me, especially in the wintertime. We here in Ontario have very cold, damp winters, and I found it extremely depressing. And I did all kinds of the Western modalities. I did the actual chiropractic, I did massage therapy, I did physiotherapy for quite some time after my accident. I even tried to, my doctors put me on antidepressants right away because they figured, I was going to have to deal with the depression, so I was already on antidepressants before all the shock wore off. And for 5 years, I stayed on antidepressants, fighting this numb state of being. And it's an awful place to be in because you not only feel numb, but you don't ever feel any joy. There's no excitement in your life. You just feel like you're just in this state of waiting for life to get over with. And that's where I was at. I was looking for ways to get away from this depression, to get away from this pain. And that's when I came across a book on emotional healing. And I thought, wow, this is for me. I tried everything else. I even did naturopathic stuff. I did homeopathic stuff, and trying to, again, get rid of the physical issues. And it wasn't until I realized that because, getting back to where I was as a horse trainer, I was determined to become a horse trainer again, and I was riding horses. And but what I didn't realize is I was manifesting fear and creating more accidents to come my way. And after a few more accidents and revisiting that fear and pain again, I realized I couldn't do this anymore. And getting into the emotional aspect and finding out that it was just fear that I was holding in my pelvis. And once I released that, I actually have no pain in my pelvis anymore, unless, of course, I overdo it. But on a day-to-day basis, I am pain-free and so happy and so excited to show and share this modality with the world.
It's really interesting, too, because when Vonda came into my life, I forgot to mention, is I'd gone through a death also. I'd gone through the death of a partner, and anyone who's ever gone through death, there's such a myriad of emotions that you need to release, and it was a really hard time in my life, and it gave me more incentive for us to go away and learn how more to heal people, because at that point I thought I'd been doing emotional healing for 23 years. I'd learned a technique called NET, called neuro-emotional technique. I was doing that in my practice for years, very successful at it. But the lady who I was with, who had passed away, she felt that I was becoming, it was too personal a technique. So she worked in my office and she said, I don't feel good with you doing that with the clients. You know too much about them. So she basically said, I don't want you doing that anymore. So for a long period of time, I stepped away from the emotional work I did. So when we met and I'd gone through this death, she basically was so persistent that you've got to go back to the emotional healing you love. I'd also gone through, I didn't mention, had gone through divorce, and I'd gone through my parents' divorce. So unfortunately, I'd gone through it twice. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of anger, a lot of fear you feel when you go through a divorce, a lot of doubt, like what is wrong with me? Is there something I should have done? So I've got a lot of life experiences, and the other one that I forgot to mention was my oldest brother. He was when he was 19, he dove into a swimming pool and he broke his neck. He was paralyzed, and so I had to work through all the feelings I felt for watching my brother be. He was in hospital for a year and he still doesn't walk. He's done amazing, but he is paralyzed, and so all those life experiences, I brought those to chiropractic. I brought those to awakenings. And it's helped me to become a better practitioner. And what Vonda has gone through, it's helped her to become a better practitioner along with me for this technique.
It's amazing what life deals us. And you may hear some banging and crashing around in my background, so I'm muting myself when you're talking because they're actually redoing the balconies. Mm-hmm. And usually this is their break time, but for some reason they seem to be extra keen today, so there was a lot of banging and crashing and I just muted myself. But we all get dealt these incredible life blows, and we have so many things that we have to work through. You were very wise to find your own equilibrium amongst that and to be able to help. And I've been doing energy healing. I've been doing all of the modalities that you mentioned and so on, and meditating for 36, 37 years, an hour a day, every single day. So, being in touch with myself, staying in centered and balanced and grounded in my joy is really what's the most important thing to me. And when you were talking about deaths, I had a death of my life partner, and I remember, and my mom, all at the same time, and I was like crying and crying and crying all these tears and missing them and feeling horrible about it. And then the next thing I knew, I was able to go inside and tap into joy that was inside underneath all that grief. So that well of joy seems to be there all the time. And I was just listening to your chakra meditations because I've been so busy, so rushed, and working with electromagnetic hypersensitivity, flying to LA and back and being in these studios with everybody with cell phones and all this stuff. And so I was feeling kind of crappy and overworked. And I put on your chakra meditations, and oh, it was just like heaven. I just felt like I was floating into this beautiful dream state. It was terrifically wonderful. Your voice is fantastic. Tell me, how did you begin formulating the awakenings? How did you begin with this?
Well, the technique basically started with meditation. Basically, we spent hours and hours meditating, and to be honest,
there was a lot of back and forth, trying something, seeing that it didn't work to the potential that we hoped it to.
Yeah.
And then you know, we would insert something else, and then found that worked better. So it was a process of over a year of putting pieces together and shifting the modalities that we learned in the past and making this into its own. So.
Because I know we have the clients that be coming in each week as we have an office in our house. This is before we were doing it on Skype, and every week it seemed they come in and I'd basically saying, you know, we've changed how we're doing this, and they wouldn't get upset. They'd laugh. They go, what is it this time? So we just kept working with them, and the technique is we finally got it exactly the way we want it.
And it's been the same now for about 10 months, where it's just been rock solid the same. Yeah. Each time a client comes in, it has not shifted. So we know that it's got its foundation.
So we're actually at the point where we're actually going to start teaching workshops to start to teach people how to do this technique, because we've had so many people that have come to us and said, I want to be able to do this for my family, my friends. And it just took us getting brave enough to say we can do this. So we're about next month we're going to start doing our first workshop. So we're very, very excited because that's a new adventure for us, and we know it's going to go well. We've already got it planned and booked, and now it's just a matter of going through with it.
Yeah, getting all the pieces put together, yeah, and getting the feedback from our first clients to see where we can make it better and just keep growing and reaching.
Well, you've obviously built the trust of your clientele, because if they're saying, well, what this time, how's the change coming with it, and so on. You have their trust, and I can understand that completely, because just listening to those meditations, I felt such a well of trust and such a well of well-being. I couldn't get over how I felt. It was like I listened to a lot of different meditations, but there's something about your voice, there's something about the visualizations, the prayers, everything all fits together so beautifully. It flows incredibly well. So, I think you've got a phone call.
Fax machine.
That's our fax machine. We just got to turn that off.
That's cute. Like what we do when we're doing these, right? We turn off and we unplug our telephone, and then we never anticipated a fax machine. So, this is because you are in your office right now. This is where you're working with people.
Turn it off.
Great. And right after this interview, you're going to have a client immediately, and so on. So, what are some of the areas that it works on the best? Do you find it's working best with pain, or do you find it's working best with handling emotions or de-stressing? What areas are the awakening techniques helping the most?
Actually, it's helping in all areas, and it's interesting how it helps with Some people, it just clears away all the issues that they couldn't think clearly, so they're even more aware of what they're thinking about. But we find some clients that their physical state just clears right off. So when they come back in for another session, we go through all their physical symptoms, they don't have any. So I just have to rate their energy level. So that's amazing. And then we've had other clients that have very stubborn physical issues, and we just have to keep digging at and getting down to the root cause of what the physical, symptoms are, and that does come out always in our sessions. And then it helps so much with the emotional aspect of it. It just makes you so much clearer when you can not only be aware of what you're thinking about, what you're feeling when you're thinking about those situations, those people and events in your life. Because so many people just feel numb to their emotions. When you ask them how you feel about a certain situation, it's amazing how many people just come up with a blank stare. They don't even know what emotions they're feeling when it's something about a person or another situation. They just have this numbness to them. Because we've been so taught as children to not express our emotions, right? I know as a child, I wouldn't dare show anger to my parents, or I would be spanked for it. And and if you cried, then you were called names even by your parents. Don't be a suck and stuff. So from a very early age, our parents went through the same process as well. So you can't blame them. But we are now educated that allow your children to express themselves, and so that they're not going to have the issues that we have as well.
The one thing that I wanted to say too, not to be too technical, but basically the basic idea is that how we feel emotionally creates how we feel physically, and sometimes that kind of scares people because they kind of go, oh my God, I've got to mind my thoughts because my thoughts are affecting how I'm feeling physically. Because just to take it very, very simply, that how we feel emotionally, the feeling or the thought creates an emotion in our body, and those emotions, they actually get converted into proteins. They call them neuropeptides. And those proteins, they're released, they're fired off from the brain through the nervous system, and they bind to receptors on all the cells in our body, and they affect the way the cells function. And it's like a lock and a key. It's like when you turn your key to start your car. Those neuropeptides, they bind to the cell, and they turn on genes or DNA or turn them off. So they may turn on the genes that act to create arthritis, to create illness or disease, or they can turn on things to cause your cells to work at a better level. So basically, how you think and feel creates how you're going to be physically. So you can't really just work with the physical. You are working with the physical as you're clearing the emotional, and that's something that they know from science. So it's really cool that basically your thoughts create how you feel physically. And a lot of people don't realize how important it is. What you think makes a huge difference.
Are you able to help people that have emotions that are buried so deep they're not even aware that they have them anymore?
Yeah, those are basically most of the people we work with. Is that, like Vonda said, most of the people, when they come in, they're so emotionally numb, they don't even know, some people don't even know how to feel happiness when they come to see us. And so many people, they don't even know what emotions, why they're feeling, let's say, depressed. They just know they're depressed. And so the awakenings technique does a few things. The awakenings techniques, it helps us to help you to identify what are the main issues in your life that are holding you back. Probably one of the biggest ones is a lack of self-worth. Once we know what issue is holding you back, we're able to connect to the emotions that are surrounding that issue. What emotions are you holding on to that are helping you to stay in that state of a lack of self-worth? So you don't even need to know the emotions when you come in. We help to guide you to the emotions that you want to deal with. We also help you to release those emotions. And then lastly, we give you the opportunity to replace those lower energy emotions, negative emotions, with something much more positive. It's like putting new files into your subconscious mind. We basically are rewiring the computer of your mind so that you think better, you feel better, and you start to live the life that you desire instead of getting your life simply by default.
Very cool. Very cool. So, it astounds me when people don't recognize their self-worth. I have been at retreats and workshops and so on, and I have seen people that I just see these gems. I see these people that are just absolutely phenomenal and learn that they don't have any value for themselves. They don't value themselves. They don't see their self-worth. So that's a tragic situation, and I'm really glad that you're able to help with that, because what a shame, what a complete shame. And when you're talking about the correlations, sometimes people don't want to get better. So I had one friend of mine who had serious MS and so on, and we were working together. I was working with her to try to help her feel better. And she said, I don't deserve to get better. And she felt that this was a punishment for the way that she'd behaved. So she actually, in her head, had something that was holding her back from healing because she didn't feel she deserved it. Do you see people blocking their healing in a way? And can the awakening technique cut through that?
You want to answer that? You want me to answer that?
But we both could probably answer that. Go ahead.
Well, basically, yeah, people are blocking their emotions all the time. The one that comes to my mind is that with your heart chakra. That's your fourth chakra, and it's all about love. And so many people, they don't love themselves. They're not willing to love themselves, and so what they do is they don't feel they deserve to have love in their life. So when you don't feel you deserve to have love in your life, when people try and love you, what are you going to do? You push that emotion away. So you start pushing those relationships away. So these people come in saying every relationship I get into falls apart, but they're not willing to allow themselves to be loved. They're not willing to allow themselves to know how lovable they are. And until they do that, they'll go from one relationship to another, and they're like on a treadmill. So that's one issue that I see. I'm not sure you want to say.
Well, I find that a lot of people are addicted to that emotion of, of being. Basically, they don't know how to be any other way. And when we see clients that have no self-worth, and I'm sorry, I'm having a little anxiety. Can you repeat the question again, and I can get back on my line?
When you find people that just don't want to get better for whatever reason, they may have some reason behind them that they don't want to get better. Maybe being sick, for example, if they're an elderly person, means that their family is going to come and visit them. They're going to get more attention. Or maybe if it's a child, it means that they don't have to go to school. They get out of going to school and missing the test that they don't want to take. There may be reasons that people have that they don't want to get better. And can the awakening technique cut through those blocks that are blocking people, the blocks that are keeping people from wanting to heal?
Yeah, well, what you do have to want to heal deep down is the main thing. If you don't want to heal, even the awakenings technique isn't going to help them because they don't want the help. But if they do deep down want the help, but they have this feeling of not, that they just can't, that they don't deserve, we will actually find out where the point is, where they felt like they didn't deserve something, and make it clear to them. And we give them a kind of awareness now of why they felt that way, and a lot of them are like shocked that they didn't realize that that was a seed that was planted when they were so young. And when they realized that, and realized that they could actually change that process by just changing the way they think and feel, then they can break through from that, and we definitely can help them find what that situation is, replace how they feel about that situation, and grow and prosper from that issue.
And sorry to interrupt, but I was saying, as you said a comment about children, a lot of time, they get sick because there's something they get out of it. I remember a patient that I worked with, this is with NET, but it's the same thing, emotional healing. This is probably 20 years ago. And she was a chiropractic patient of mine, and she would come in, and she'd always be sick. And basically what we were able to find out, like you said, through it emotionally, is that she felt that when she was a little girl, she was like 50 years old when I was working with her, when she was a little girl, she knew that if she was sick, she'd get a lot of extra attention from her mom. And that if she got well, her mom would just ignore her. So her brain said, if you're sick, you get love. If you're not sick, you don't get love. So she had to stay sick. So this was early on in the work I was doing, emotional work I was doing. We were able to help her realize, become aware of that, and help her to find out that you can get love in your life, you can feel more love in your life without having to be sick. And the really cool thing was as soon as we shifted that in her subconscious mind to where she knew and believed that she can be loved without having to be sick, she stopped being sick. And so emotions are, I went, wow, like this I was like 30 years old when this happened. I thought that is so amazing that your emotions are so powerful that they can affect you so much. And I had adjusted her for probably a year and I couldn't touch it. As soon as I shifted her emotions, it shifted overnight and I was hooked. And from then on I thought, I got to learn about emotional healing. And it's now 23 years later probably, dating myself, and I'm as passionate, probably more passionate now about helping people heal than I was then, because I've just kept learning along with Vonda how powerful this is, how powerful your emotions are, that every physical problem you have, it starts with an emotion. I don't care. It starts with emotion. You've got to look at what am I feeling emotionally, that's creating me to have a physical problem. And that's what we do with Awakenings. We get to the core of how you're feeling emotionally.
That's such a big one, you know, and people think with the standard medical model, it's going to take so long, okay? I have stage 4 cancer. It's going to take me so long. I need to go through so much chemotherapy. I need to go through so much radiation. They have all of the different things that they feel that they need to do, and it's going to be hard work. It's going to be a struggle. I have to take all this medication, and yet what you were talking about that lady, when she just suddenly clicked in and clued into what was holding her back, she was able to heal. And, you know, people have written books about it. They've been in comas, and they flatlined with stage 4 cancer. They're gone. They're finished. And they go walking into the light in this near-death experience, and the next thing they know, within 4 days, they're cancer-free. They're better. They're walking around. They're feeling fantastic. And so many healers, like you are, like both of you are, you're amazingly incredible healers. Just even the meditations without the technique itself is so powerful. It's so powerful in healing people. And nobody wants to feel terrible. And the thing is, this can be instantaneous. It can be instantaneous. And then there might be another emotion that crops up later that blocks you with something. But again, and so I think part of what you're doing, and correct me if I'm wrong, is touching and releasing the fear and replacing that with love. Is that so?
And love is the most important emotion that you bring in for that client. Probably the two emotions that I'd say that we see the most of with people are fear and anger. And I know I was reading a book a little while ago, and they were saying that fear and anger are so powerful because they release something like 1,400 physical and chemical responses in the body. There's at least 30 hormones that get released in your body because of fear and anger. And fear and anger, they cause a release of so much adrenaline. And adrenaline raises your heart rate, it raises your blood pressure, it raises your cholesterol, your triglycerides. It does so many horrible things to your body when you keep fear and anger inside of you on the long term. And love is the greatest emotion to bring into a client to counteract love and fear. So you're right. That is, of all the emotions, it's the most important because God is love, and that's what love is. And that's what we do with our clients. We have them all the time bringing in love.
And even if they connect to even the love, if they don't feel like they've had love in relationships, they find love somewhere in their life, love for a hobby, love for a pet, a love for a grandparent. So they just have to remember what love feels like and to feel that energy again when we do the replacing of the negative emotion, to bring that in. And then we do positive affirmations to lock that in so that they can take that home with them to make sure that they keep that chemical change in their brain for the positive by repeating the affirmations and feeling what that feels like.
Wonderful. Can you give us a demonstration? Can you show us how this actually works?
Well, we can't do the whole technique because the technique itself would take too long. But what we can do is give a sort of a snapshot of what we do. And basically, what we do with individuals is there's a first part of the technique which Vonda would do. But what I do is I connect you. What's the highest priority chakra that individual needs to release for that day? So, would you mind if we used you?
Not at all. I'd love it. But I'm the client. I'm coming in. I don't even know. I'm not even in touch with my emotions. I don't know which chakra I want to work on. I may not even know what chakras are.
Well, do you want me to explain what chakras are? Do your viewers know what chakras are, or?
I think most of them do, but you can always explain, and you can also go about working on me. What I meant was, how can your client know what chakra they need to work on if they don't know yet?
They don't have to know. That's what we tell them intuitively.
Yeah.
So that's what I meant. If you're a client and you come in, you don't need to know what you need to work on. That's our job, is to tell you what your highest priority chakra, if you have one, that we need to release. So and
all the clients, when you bring it up, they're just, that's right. They're aware. They're definitely aware of what is wrong, but it's when somebody points it out, it just makes it so much clearer.
Okay, so go for it. I'm going to mute myself because of the noise in the background, but just go ahead and work on me, okay?
Okay. Well, basically, we always use muscle testing. I use muscle testing for my chiropractic clients. It's basically a way of connecting to the body, connecting to the subconscious mind. And so what we're going to do is for Allison, is I'm just going to pretend I'm sitting in my office upstairs. And the question I would ask is, what's the highest priority chakra that we need to work on for Allison today? There's basically 8 chakras. There's a 0 chakra, which 0 chakra right up to the 7th chakra. So we'll see which one it is. The highest priority chakra for Allison, is it the 0 chakra? Hold strong. No. Is it the 1st chakra? Is it the 2nd chakra? Is it the 3rd chakra? And I'll just go through. Is it the 4th? Is it the 5th? Is it the 6th? Is it the 7th? Is it the 3rd? Is it the 3rd? It's the 3rd. So the 3rd chakra, as far as your chakra, is right at your belly button. The color of the 3rd chakra is yellow, and the 3rd chakra is all about self-worth. So if you're my client and say, okay, today the chakra that we're going to be working on is your self-worth chakra. The next thing I do is I got to show you, we've got sheets here, okay? These sheets, and these sheets are for the 5 elements of Chinese medicine, because the Chinese believed that we have to be in balance with all of the elements, with wood, water, metal, earth, fire. So what I'll do for you is I'll just connect to I'll pick one emotion. I can't go through them all, but the highest priority emotion for Allison with self-worth, okay, is the element going to be wood, hold strong? Is it water, hold strong? Is it metal, hold strong? Is it earth, hold strong? Okay, is it fire? Is it earth? It's earth. So I go to earth, and I'm going to connect to what the emotion is that I want to, an example of one of the emotions that I'd want to release for you, Allison. So I got to look at my sheet here. There's 63 emotions on earth. Is it 1 to 10, hold strong? Is it 11 to 20? Is it 11 to 15, hold strong? Is it 16? Okay. So the emotion that I connect you with you is inner hopelessness. So the next question I would ask is, you can have inner hopelessness in your life now. It could be inner hopelessness about the future. It could be inner hopelessness about the past. So your inner hopelessness is situated in the present, hold strong. It's not in the future, hold strong. It's not. It's in the past. So the first question I would ask a client is I would say, I want you to connect your very first and immediate thought as to where you felt your greatest sensing of inner hopelessness in the past. And when you've connected, I don't want you to explain anything to me. I just want you to say, praise source. And if you have trouble finding the, let's say, the age of that emotion, I can help you. But most clients, when they go to their first immediate thought, it'll take them to an issue. So it's inner hopelessness. So connect to your greatest feeling of inner hopelessness in the past when you have to say, praise source.
Praise source.
So then when I must test, is this the issue we need to release? Hold strong. Yes, it is. So it is the issue we need to release. So the next question I ask, is there an emotion behind this feeling of inner hopelessness? Hold strong. There is. So inner hopelessness is not actually the emotion we want to release for you, Allison. It's what emotion you were feeling at that point in your life which led you to, as an end result, have inner hopelessness. So the question would be, what emotion, what feeling were you feeling that led you at that point in your life to feel inner hopelessness?
So it's like a root. So the inner hopelessness is the top of the root, and the emotion that you need to find out that brought you to inner hopelessness is like the bottom of the root. So we're going to go and get
pull the root right out.
Root of the weed and get rid of it.
So what emotion, when you think of where you felt inner hopelessness, what emotion were you feeling that led you to that point of I have hopelessness?
Acute sadness. It was, when I realized the greed and the corruption in the world, and it was just this incredible inner sadness.
So that's very good. So then the next thing we do, is I say, what emotion can you reach for, can you feel to replace that sadness? So you're going to replace that negative feeling with something positive. You're basically reprogramming your subconscious mind. So what can you reach for instead of feeling sadness? And it's totally up to you. There's no wrong answer. It's whatever you feel in your heart that you can feel and you can reach. What would you pick?
Well, I get a bunch of different things coming up. I get serenity.
But what I want to do is connect to the very first immediate thought. That's the one that. What is the first thought that you connected to? Was it serenity?
It was trust.
Trust. Okay. Then the next question. Trust is awesome. So what I want you to do is I want you to connect to where you have felt awesome trust in your life. It can be anywhere. It can be childhood, teenage, adult years. Just simply connect to where you felt that energy of trust. And when you have, just say praise source.
Praise source.
So now what I want to do is I'd have you do for 68 seconds, if you're a client, we'd have you do a meditation where you sit back, you close your eyes, and it's like going into your imagination. And you just focus on trust. You focus on what it feels like. You focus on what you were doing back then when you felt that sense of trust. And then we have you connect for 68 seconds. And at the end of those 68 seconds, we would have you take a beautiful breath in, take a breath out. We would say a positive affirmation around trust to lock that feeling of trust in, and then we would go on to the next emotion and the next. And it's just, we just progress through all the emotions that we need to release with your third chakra during that session. So that's what we do. We do that same scenario over and over. We do it for your soul. We do it for the actual chakra we're dealing with, which in this case is the third chakra. We also do it, always work with the seventh chakra, which is, we call it the God chakra. Seventh chakra is right at the crown of your head. It's the seventh chakra is about your connection to spirit, your connection to higher purpose. And we also work with your
higher self as well.
Yeah. And we also work with your physical body, because your cells are just energy. They hold on to energy. They hold on to memories. So basically, we always connect to what emotions that you're holding on to in your physical body with respect to self-worth, and we release those too. So it's a very
thorough.
It's a very thorough, but we think it's simple, but it probably isn't. But it's very effective, and we don't use any drugs. We don't cut you open. We basically, as we say on the website, we look into your soul, and we just clear all of the emotional baggage that you've been holding on to for a lifetime.
Yeah, it makes you so much more aware of how you're thinking and feeling. And when you start, once we do some clearing and you start thinking negatively again, you get so aware of those negative emotions. I kind of explained it to some clients. It's like having a backpack on full of negative emotions, and they're really heavy. And then when you do some sessions with us, it's like releasing that backpack and having nothing in it. It's empty now, except that it feels so light because it's full of energies like joy and love and inner peace and trust and just all of the abundance in your life. And when a negative emotion comes back and places itself back into that backpack, you feel it and you get rid of it right away, because you're not going to go back there anymore, because it feels so good to be this new you.
Yeah, we used to do a lot of lectures, and we'd actually have a backpack, and I used to fill the backpack with rocks. And I used to write all these different emotions on the rocks, like anger, fear, resentment. And the rocks would be different sizes. And I'd walk into the room with this backpack on, and I was basically, remember there'd be times to be like falling on the floor because it was so heavy, and people are going, "Oh my God, you're going to hurt yourself." And so I'd say, "What do you got to do? What do we got to do?" And they'd say, "You've got to take those rocks and get rid of them." And I said, "Exactly." So that's what we do. We take away the anger, take away the fear, take away the resentment. And then I'd walk around the room and go, "My God, do I ever feel light?" And I go, would you people like to do that? Because most people, they're walking around with their own backpack, and their backpack's getting heavier and heavier and heavier, till eventually they fall on the ground and they go, "You know what? I don't even know how I got here. There's so many rocks in my backpack. I don't even know how I got here." And so that's what we do. We just keep taking the rocks out of the backpack till you're just walking light. It's a really good analogy, but it's what awakenings is. It's cool.
And how can you possibly, even for one moment, put a value on that? Because, you know, we spend so much money on our externals, on getting our clothes so that we have a nice outfit, on having the right car, on our job, on the approval of our boss, and this and that. We put so much emphasis on the outside, even on the foods we eat, which I love superfoods. I think our diet is so important. And we put all this emphasis, and we forget to put the emphasis on our own emotional well-being, on that lightness, on that feeling. And what you were talking about, Vonda, I can relate to it 100%, because I am literally addicted to joy. I'm addicted to bliss. I love that feeling. I just love it. And I wake up out of bed, and I hop out of bed, I feel fantastic. I feel just vibrantly healthy. So when I don't feel that way, and of course, you know, life does deal us our blows, and when something comes and it really throws me off center, I just want to get back on ASAP. You know, I want to tap back into that feeling, that complete feeling of joy. And that's our right. That's what nature intended for us. So this is like absolutely phenomenal. Just phenomenal. And what did you think? What was your thought process going about when you were creating the meditations?
I don't know. Well, the meditations, I just thought, like, we worked on them together, but we just basically thought, what's the purpose of each chakra? And so, like, take self-worth, this third chakra, self-worth. So we just thought, what do we want people to know about self-worth? We just wanted people to go away with the feeling connected to whatever the chakra was about. So third chakra, we want you to have self-worth. Your first chakra, we want you to feel safe. Your throat chakra, we want you to feel like you can speak your voice, take back control of your life, take back the power in your life. Heart chakra, we want you to know that you are a loving, beautiful being. You deserve love. You deserve to feel love. You deserve to experience love, to give love. The seventh chakra, we want you to know that you are connected to spirit. You're always connected to spirit. We want you to connect your higher purpose. Your second chakra, we didn't talk about that. That's right in your pelvis. And your second chakra is about creativity. We wrote it because we want you to go away from the chakra feeling like, you know what, I can be creative. Maybe I want to go and do artwork again, or maybe I want to sing again, or do whatever, but we want you to be creative. We just wanted these chakras to help you so that you feel so positive. That's why we made them just 15 minutes in length. We recommend that people do them before they go to bed. It's a great way to go to sleep with, because it's well known that whatever you think about before you go to sleep, you're putting that in your subconscious mind, and you're going to wake up with those feelings. So why not wake up with glorious positive feelings in the morning, so when you go to bed with glorious positive feelings.
Are they? They're fantastic. I can't even begin to tell you how wonderful your voice is and how terrific they feel. I think more people need to know about that incredibly. And I just can't get over how when people release those emotions, when they just let go of that, how wonderful they feel. And it's better than anything. It's better than any hairdo. It's better than any massage. It's better than any experience just to have that lift up, because then you can come from a place of overflow. You're not coming from a place of depletion. And you're not holding yourself apart from everything that the world intends for you. You hear about all the abundance and all of the law of attraction and all of that stuff. And sometimes, you hear about like having an attitude of gratitude, and it's just like, oh man, this is BS. Life is so rotten. How can I possibly feel that way? These are la la land people. And it's not. It's real. But I mean, you need to have that opportunity to zero in on that experience in your own life. And, if what you were talking about, Dr. Kevin, when you're saying that the majority of people just aren't in touch with their emotions at all, they don't even, they just know they feel lousy, but they don't know what they're feeling exactly or what's happening, you can change that for them. You can change that. So tell us a little bit about how this works. You're offering 6 sessions for the price of 5 sessions. And these sessions are an hour and a half each in length. I mean, that's phenomenal. But explain to us why you chose to do it in this way.
Well, explain.
Yeah, well, the first thing we do is we want to get you connected to your physical body, because a lot of us don't even realize how our physical body is actually communicating with us. With stiff necks and tension in the shoulders, headaches. The first cropping of stress is, headaches, stomach issues, skin eruptions. So we're even working with teenagers right now who, have skin irritations with acne, and it really stems from the anger that they have with with one of their parents. And finding that out, their skin now is clearing up, and they're looking absolutely fabulous. I've had a gentleman actually do 25 push-ups. And he says he's lucky to do 10 after a session, because he was feeling so light and alive that he just dropped to the floor and did 25 push-ups. I was so surprised. And we've had other clients that just felt joy and love for the first time in their life, and me included, because I had a very serious household when I grew up, and so there wasn't a whole lot of joy. It was very, very limited, the joy in our lives. And so to feel joy on a daily basis is an amazing addiction to have, like you were saying. And we've had other clients who've had eating disorders get turned right around in 1 or 2 sessions. Mm-hmm. We've had other clients who's had had to use a cane all the time to get around, no longer has to bring her cane everywhere she goes. And what else
Well, the one thing I wanted to say that I think Alice was trying to get at is why we did this with 6 sessions. Like, why does it take more than 1 session? And basically, what we found in the 3 years we've been doing this is people have a lot of issues. They have a lot of baggage. So if you just simply do 1 session, you'll feel better. But we don't feel like we're helping you as much as we can, because we want to get all of you better. We want to get all of you to feel wonderful. It's like, I don't take them, but if someone takes an antibiotic, okay, if you take it for 1 day and you might feel better, but if it says take it for 10 days to get its full effect, you got to take it for 10. Well, the same with the awakenings is, if you do 1 session, that's good, but if you have the commitment to do the 5 or the 6 sessions, it's going to give you the time to really feel the whole power of how good you can feel when you're feeling emotionally balanced. And Vonda's right, we could sit here for hours telling you testimonials, but what patients tell us is you've just got to try it. That's what you just got to try it. You have nothing to lose except getting happy. If you want to get happy, if you want to feel good, you're in the right place with Vonda and I. And like I said, no pills, no drugs. We don't have you talk for hours about your dramas and traumas. What we're concerned about is getting rid of the emotional baggage that you're holding on to so that you basically move through the rest of your life with a smile on your face, something like Allison does every day, just with joy. It's about giving you a feeling of joy every day of your life. Instead of this world that we see that's so negative and fearful, our clients, I laugh a lot because they'll say, I go out and people think I'm weird because I'm so happy all the time. And they go, people get angry at me because I'm so happy all the time. And we go, you're supposed to be. And they go, no, but people don't like people who are angry. They want you to be miserable. They want you to go down to their level. And I say, not doing away things. We don't allow you to go down to their level. So it's basically, if you're looking for happiness and joy, this is where you got to go. It's as simple as that.
I love it. I think it's really very, very cool, you know. It's so what we need. We need to be that being of light that we're meant to be. And I have sort of a feeling in terms of like electromagnetic hypersensitivity. So we're in this electro smog right now. It's bouncing all around us. And they're bouncing with like arc and so on. They're bouncing off the ionosphere, and then it's going down to individuals and countries and so on, and there's like a lot of stuff going on. I've got a feeling that if we can bring our vibration up higher, above the ionosphere, that we would be untouched by that. And some of the healers that I've worked with, some of the times where I've had really tough symptoms, you know, a constriction in the chest and so on, they've been able to help me release that feeling and so on. So I can see that what you're offering is, to me, incredibly generous. To have 6 sessions of an hour and a half each. How long are we talking about here? We've got 3, 6 hours, 9 hours.
9 hours.
9 hours.
9 hours, and it's a non-talk therapy too, so it's not like you have to bring your traumas and dramas and spill them out, because a lot of people don't want to talk about their stuff. And what talking about it also does is make you relive those emotions. And we don't want you to relive those emotions. We just want you just need to connect to it for a moment, and then we shift it by bringing in that positive emotion. And then we concrete it in by sending you home with an assignment that you do every single day to confirm that emotion stays within you so that you can live a life of joy and happiness.
And we send that homework to you on the computer, and because so many of our clients we're seeing them over Skype because they don't even live in Canada, is that you don't even have to get out of your house to work with us. You can be sitting in your living room and you can be enjoying the benefits of awakenings. That's the cool thing about the computers. Yeah. Is that you doesn't matter where you are on this earth, if you wanna change, all it takes is you getting on Skype and setting aside that hour and a half, and we'll email you to help set up your appointment times. It's so simple, so simple.
You know, I think it's just absolutely the cat's meow, because the thing is, like, just doing the surrogate muscle testing with Vonda and working through that way, you came to a very, a core issue that has been in my past. And I remember distinctly when I started to become aware of things on a global level, which was when I was about 7 years old. And I was like looking at how we're just little specks of sand. And I had this image of sand and this beach and everything. And I was riding on the school bus. I let my eyes go out of focus, and I just pictured all this sand and like how minusculely unimportant we are, because nobody's going to remember us 50 years after we're gone, 100 years after we're gone. Even if we're really bad, they may remember us, but not for that long. And so then, when I was tapping into all the greed and all the corruption and all the things that were going on, I saw a lot of hypocrisy when I was young. Because, my parents were, unlike your parents, my parents were like the pillar of society. And there'd be these people that would come and they would like be sprouting off all this stuff and so on. And then I'd see the way that they lived when I go to visit my girlfriends, to be in their homes and so on. And I saw a lot of different levels of hypocrisy going on, and I really felt it. I felt the greed. I felt all of the injustices that were going on in the world. And so, and you tapped into that. I'm like shocked and amazed that you did. It's amazing to me. So this will work for people. And I'm going to let people know where they can actually find out more about this. So you can just simply go to yourvibranthealthsecrets.com/awakening. So yourvibranthealthsecrets.com/awakening, AWAKENING. And you're going to learn more about the technique and about how you can start setting up some appointments. And you can get this bundle of appointments. You know, you're getting an extra free appointment for our viewing audience. And this, I believe, is the best investment that you can make in your life, period, bar none. I believe that, you know, those 9 hours that you're going to be spending with Dr. Kevin and Vonda are literally 9 hours that are going to change your life forever in a way that you never imagined possible. And if you're feeling anything less than the joy and the bliss that you're meant to feel, you really need to check this out, because there isn't any drug, there isn't any alcohol, there isn't anything that is going to give you that root, natural feeling connected to source feeling that you're meant to have, that vibrant health that you're meant to have. So for me, that's phenomenal. But they've also made something else very special available for you. And that is that you can get the 7 meditations. And I've just been having so much fun with those meditations, because it's like having a soul massage. You know, it's really, really very, very neat. And they've got that available too for you. So you can check out that page again, and yourvibranthealthsecrets.com/awakening. I really think it's something of incredible value. You know, I want to thank you guys for the work that you're doing. I know with both of your lives, your childhoods, and what you've come through, and so on, it's truly amazing. It's given you the humility and the compassion to be able to understand what we're going through in this day and age, what we're going through, and really identify and relate to people. And you both have the same burning desire to give back and help people. And I really appreciate that. I'd like to ask you, do you have some parting comments? You know, we've got like 3 more minutes. I'd like you to each maybe, you know, take what you would like our viewing audience to remember, and what's the most important aspect that you'd like to have people take away from today.
I think for me, the most important thing I want people to take away is how critical your thoughts are, and that basically how you think affects every aspect of your life, every aspect of your health, and what you focus on grows. So basically, we just want to make sure that you're always focusing on positive thoughts, and you're always putting your intention on what you want and not on what you don't want, because whatever you put your intention on, the universe is going to give it to you, so you better really want what you're focusing on. That would be my one thing I'd say.
Yeah, because we have 60,000 thoughts a day, and trying to manage those thoughts, you know, I used to try to just manage the negative thinking, but I had constant chatter in my subconscious of telling me how I wasn't worthy, that I didn't deserve, I wasn't smart enough, and I feel like I struggled through every aspect of my life. And by doing the Awakenings technique, I don't have that negative self-chatter. In fact, I hear things like happy, 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 and you know, and just, you know, I'm just so pleased to be able to bring this to the world and have as many people do this. So, and the other thing I like to do too is to journal. You know, journal about your life the way you desire it to be, and as if it already has been. So instead of writing about what you've done today, write about your imaginary life of how that would feel to be living this amazing life, and just as if you're writing a book for somebody else, but it's about you, and just sort of daydream about what that would feel like. Will actually start shifting the brain, because the subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not real. So play with it a little bit, make it believe that you are full of joy and have a wonderful relationship, and watch how it delivers magic.
I was going to say, don't let your feet touch the ground when you get out of bed every day. until your attitude is positive, so that you go through your day positive.
I love it. I just love it. You know, we teach our kids not to daydream. I mean, you know, we're killing the daydreaming thing. And we've got them scheduled with so many different things. They've got to go to soccer, they've got to go to band practice, they've got to go to this, to that. You know, I mean, their days are just totally booked solid. They don't have any time for daydreaming and just playing and so on. So, you know, I think that's super, super great advice. I can't even begin to tell you how strongly I encourage you to go to yourvibranthealthsecrets.com/awakening and check out this work. It is really, truly transformational. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate both of you. It's a gift that you're giving to the world. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much, Alison.
And thank you to everyone that's given your time here with us today, for all our viewers, and for those that will be hearing the replay and so on. We appreciate you. If it wasn't for you, we couldn't do this work we love. So thank you very much.